Hey YouTube, well I'm here to talk about Greenleaf. That's the season 4, episode 7. All right, there's so much here in these episodes. Anyway, I do my best to take my notes. Okay, so it starts off with Grace is calling around. She calls her daughter. She doesn't really know anybody that AJ would know really. So she's calling her daughter. Apparently, she's called her several times looking for AJ, wondering if he showed up there or if she has seen him. Grace lies, says, no, I haven't seen him. I haven't seen him this time or the last time or the last time. I haven't seen him, Ma. She's lying. He's sitting right there with her, right? He's being a little bit of an asshole as usual. This problem child. I don't know what they're going to do with this person because I find it hard to believe that they're going to incorporate a criminal who lies about his crimes, who's probably got a drug problem because he robbed a pharmacy, right? How are they going to work this character into the script? I don't know. They got 3 episodes left in this season, and he just doesn't to have a lot of redeeming qualities. So, let me see. So, at some point, he starts acting up with her. He says, "I'm going out." So he's found her in her dorm room or campus apartment or whatever thing she's got. She's got a fancy room there. And he said, "I'm going to the store, right? Get some cigarettes and something else. Probably a drink because in pretty much most of the scenes where he's at home or somewhere or inside somewhere, he's generally drinking, right? So while he's gone, she figures, oh, he won't take the money if I give him some. He's got some pride somewhere there. Although he didn't have a problem calling Grace every time he needs money. But she figures, I'll just put some money in his duffel bag, right? So she goes to the duffel bag, puts some money in there, and she finds all of these pharmaceuticals. Now this boy, in addition to being an asshole, he's not very bright. He knows these cops are still suspecting him. They already came to the house after they let him go, and he is walking around with a whole backpack full of prescription drugs with all these people's names on the bottles and all of the prescriptions. Not to mention the store where he stole the stuff from. So any simple pickup, he's already on parole, so it wouldn't take much to search him. He's got all in his bag. Anyway, so she finds the pills, and now she knows he's guilty. All right, next thing we see, Charity. She's all giddy, and she's practicing preaching in the bathroom, in her bathroom while the maid washes the child, right? We finally see the child. We haven't seen a lot of the child this season at all. She don't spend a lot of time with him, I don't think. Most of her scenes are alone, or at least not with her, with the kid. Anyway, thank God they have help there. She's practicing her sermon, and she's using Grace's name in the sermon and saying the devil has got a hold of her. Now, I don't know where Charity has gotten this idea that she's a preacher, and she wants to be associate pastor, and she's always got a sermon ready to go. And no one, not one person yet, has thought she's had any kind of preaching chops at all. No one has even taken her seriously as a person who could carry a sermon. She's a talented singer, minister of music. She's headed that department because it's her family. But she's determined to be a preacher. Anyway, so she's in there telling Grace she's the devil to the mirror. Next thing we see is Bishop. He's then called everybody together, all 3 of his children. He wants them to help him propose to May. Now, he just wants them to put together a song kind of thing so they can do it as a family affair. I mean, they've been married for, 40 years. So, do a song together kind of thing. And I think at this point, let me see, history. Yeah, I think Jacob is confronting Charity before they all come together, right? But they kill it. They don't let on that Jacob doesn't let on to anybody that he knows what Charity's done, what she's been up to, or what her relationship with this guy, Phil, who is basically their enemy. Okay, then May is right outside the door. She hears this plan for him to propose and for them to participate in the proposal, right? She doesn't interfere, but they moved over to Clarissa. Carissa's in her fancy suite. You know, this house doesn't have bedrooms. It has suites of rooms. She's in there, and the maid comes in and starts taking pictures of everything, right? So now I'm sure Miss Lady May, if she wanted to pull this stunt, and she wanted to photograph everything in their rooms to make sure that girl isn't trying to walk out of the house with any of her belongings, any of her valuables and her antiques, she could have done it when Clarissa wasn't in the room. But no, she has the maid go in. I forget the maid's name. I should always say the maid. It seems degrading. But that's her job. She has the maid go in and start photographing things, right? Clarissa immediately picks up on what's going on here. Make sure you don't steal nothing, right? So, wait a minute. Then we see Jacob confronting Charity about what he saw about her kissing this man and all that. He says, well, from when I see it, it could be one of four things that I witnessed. And option two, he lists off all four things. Option two is she's in love with him, or feels like she's falling in love with him. And after she goes through a couple of lies, she comes to, yes, I'm in love with him. Didn't they fall in love fast? I mean, he was the enemy one scene. Next scene, they locking lips. So we kind of knew that was going to happen. I don't know if there's any sincerity at all with him. He's basically using her to get what he needs. But we could be fooled. Writers can do any way they want to do it. They could actually get married. Who knows? But that woman has not had a lot of luck with men. Okay, so as he's confronting her, Grace walks in. They go silent. I guess they have a silent agreement that they're not going to bring it up to Grace yet. So they just changed the subject. She seemed a little suspicious of what were you arguing about. They stayed, it was about the song. They play it off. Charity goes right down there and confronts Phil about what Jacob saw, that Jacob saw them together. And so Phil says initially, so what? He hints, he's playing her now. We assume. He hints at proposing to her. So they hate each other, then they kissed. She read a book because now she recognizes that it was his writing. And now he's hinting that he wants to propose to her. Only in television, right? Like I said, we don't know if any part of him is sincere at all. It seems like an ambitious man with his own plans. But he's about to get a right hook himself in a minute. Grace, let me see. Phil now, he thinks the church needs more parking, right? So not on the same side as the land that Jacob owned. On an opposing side, another side of the building, there's a lot, a small lot in between their church and this other church. There's a lot, right? These other people own. So Grace goes to talk to them. Okay, I'll talk to them about some parking. Correct. She finds out that the land has been sold. And the guy, I think the name of the company is City on a Hill. So Grace starts getting a little suspicious about who bought this land, right? She knows that the land across the street has been purchased, her brother's land, and now she finds out that another adjacent piece of land has been purchased. And so all from this company, City on the Hill. So she decides to go to City on the Hill. As she's going there, she sees Clarissa coming out of the offices. And she wants to know, what are you doing here? She hasn't made any connection between these two pieces of property yet. And Clarissa says, oh, I'm here. I had to sign another paper. Actually, Clarissa's in here making out with this guy, Fernando, who she's already been cheating with. But so Clarissa snaps at Grace. Don't be asking me all these questions. Who are you? So Grace has her brother, Aaron, look into this situation. She wants to find out who is City on the Hill. They're sitting together there, and he's on his laptop, and he figures out that both of these purchases are for Harmony and Hope. Now, my understanding of the deal with Harmony and Hope is not clear, because I thought Harmony and Hope bought the church. I thought this was now a Harmony and Hope church. But why would they need to go sneaking around to buy land around them without anybody knowing about it if it was their property? It's their property. They bought the other property. Why would they need the Greenleafs to stay in the dark about it? So maybe the Harmony and Hope is just become a partner with the original church, right? It's got to be that. For some reason, they have to play along with these Greenleafs. Although both mother and father are out, the only one there is Grace, really. Jacob's out. Baby, stop. For some reason, it's beginning to look like they have some plan for some big, maybe it's one of these big old Crystal Cathedral type things, and maybe they're just going to bulldoze this church. They've got all the property around it. Why would you need that much land adjacent to each other? But anyway, Aaron finds out about it, right? That they're all the same company. Grace is she's hot because they know that they have some kind of plan there, but nobody is clear about what their plan is, right? And now she's actually putting together that Clarissa knew about this deal. They must have known. So she's so if Clarissa knows, obviously Jacob knows. So let me not get ahead of myself here. All right. Okay. All right, this boy AJ. They might let this boy die. I don't know, because they didn't got him. Why would they have him robbing this pharmacy if he wasn't going to be somehow written out of the script? Either go back to jail or he's hinting now. He's talking with Sophia, and then as he's leaving, he's always leaving in a huff. He's telling her, "I'll see you on the other side." So I guess he's hinting at suicide. If he either get suicide or they gonna catch him with all them pills with all them names on it and the pharmacy name on it, and he's gonna be in prison. Now he says he could get 20 to 30 years. I don't know what the laws are like in that state, but if he's on parole and I don't know, it can go more than one way, because usually if you're on parole, they just arrest you and you go back to prison, just like you never left, and then the maximum they can give you is a year on a violation. That's the way it worked with drugs, and I guess this could be considered a drug case, but it's primarily it's a robbery. It's a burglary because no one was there. It's a burglary. So they could write it any way you want to write it. They could write it that he turns himself in, he gets a violation, he comes back into this season or next season. Or they could kill him off. I don't know. But he's hinting at suicide here. May finds out next that Vita, somebody has suggested that May's name be taken off of this scholarship that she founded. The scholarship is a program they have at the church for young girls, right? And they end up sending them to college. This is one of May's pet projects. her name is on it. This is her legacy kind of thing. She finds out that the board of that the board of that, I talk too fast sometimes. Should have my coffee first. The board of that scholarship are meeting and they want her name taken off of it. Then she finds out that the person who suggested that they take her name off of that scholarship, that program, was Vita. Vita was one of Matt's, her brother's victims, right? Now, May and the girl's mother they used to be employee. That used to be May's secretary. She's dedicated, but she's also dedicated to her daughter. She was devastated when she found out that this man was molesting her daughter. All right, she's the one who is suggesting they take it off. So she meets with the girl. She tells what's her name? Darlene. She tells Darlene, "I would like to meet with your daughter. I would like to talk to her about this. I want to know what this program means to me." Darlene is kind of apprehensive, but then she said, "Okay." And so they both meet with Lady May. They both express that they don't believe that Lady May did not know about Matt molesting these girls. They're going to these camps and this scholarship program, right? At some point, May has to explain why she didn't know. How could she? The girl says, "How could you possibly not know what was going on right up under your nose?" And then the story comes out about May. Her father was molesting her. So she said, the way that Matt was being with you, that's the way my father was being with me. In other words, this was learned behavior on the part of Matt. His father was molesting his own daughter. He became a molester himself. This is her shame, right? So she tries to leave. They suggest, "No, you should talk to the ladies." And made them talk to the ladies. She's devastated. She makes some excuse. "Oh, I got to get home. I got to make dinner." They recognize that she's running. And those two women talked her into telling the story to the board. The people who are involved, it can make her go or stay. Right? We don't see that meeting. But at the end, I guess we can kind of assume that this has already happened. She has gone and done that. But they don't give us the results in this episode. All right. So she tells, this is why I didn't know what was going on with Matt. I was in such extreme denial because of what had happened to me. I didn't want to believe it. So a lot of things that I would see and not see. They believed her. That was probably some of the best acting that Lynn Whitfield has done in this season. Yeah, she played the role pretty good. I mean, she's a good actress anyway, but I particularly liked her in that particular scene. Okay. Now, Grace confronts Jacob and Charity about this land. This land is owned by Harmony and Hope now. Jacob says, "What? I didn't know anything about it." And she said, "Of course you knew." "No, I didn't know." So they both put it together that it was Clarissa. She said, "Well, maybe you should talk to your wife." This is a scene we're robbed of. This doesn't happen in this episode. The scene between Jacob and Clarissa. He goes in to confront her, and she is sleeping in the bed with their son. He can't sleep, and he puts it off, and he goes and sleeps on the couch. But he's putting it together. They might break this couple up. They could break them up over this, right? They started off bad. They had a couple years of good relationship, and now it seems like, because when he finds out that she's actually been sleeping with this dude, the proverbial SHIT could hit the fan. So they might break them up in this episode. But she goes to sleep in the room. He goes to sleep on the couch. And we don't get that scene in this episode. That little girl, what's her name? Kiki? No, not Kiki. I don't know what her name is. Nini or some Nikki? Nikki, I think. Anyway, the girl who goes with Dante, she has told Dante, the athlete, she gave him some kind of ultimatum, right? About this team or whatever. She has all these, she's a bossy kind of woman. She has plans for his career. She wants him to go and make a public apology about what he did, about this party, about all this race stuff. He does not want to do that. She gives him an ultimatum, and he throws her out. She shows up at the doorstep of Zora. Now, we don't know if this is, this girl has got same-sex attraction to this woman or not. I'm not clear about what the relationship is between those two. They just became very instant kind of friends. And now this girl has showed up at her door and he wants to move in with her because she has nowhere to go. She was living with him, with Dante. He throws her out. She shows up there with her suitcases hidden in the bushes. So they'll have to unpack that. But basically, Zora really wants him. She wants Dante. So you would think that it would be good news. This girl is saying that if he doesn't do what I say, I'm gonna leave him. I'm gonna walk out. Then the girl shows up at her house that they done broke up. You would think Zora would be very happy, but no, Zora is barely paying attention to her. She's trying to get a Bible verse together for her mother. For Grace, because she's going through something. So she's barely paying attention to this thing. She hardly even knows Dante. She just kind of lusted after him. Anyway, the girl, her suitcases are outside. Let me see what happens next. May comes home. She's devastated. She's sad. She said whatever's going on, they're all in, the whole family is meeting together. She walks in on it. I guess they're confronting Charity about Phil and all this. It's all come out. She said, I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to know anything. She goes in her rooms and to her master closet and collapses on the floor. She's there. She's sad. She's withdrawn. Her husband comes in, Bishop, and she says she knew what was going on, and she knew that what he was planning. And then basically the answer is yes. So he didn't have to propose. She said yes before he proposed. They're on the floor, right? Phil, he gets his hand slapped finally, because when Charity goes to confront him about buying up all his land for Harmony and Hope, he knows nothing about it. He seems to be sincere that he doesn't know anything about it. And she said, how could you not know? You're Bob's right-hand man. And he said, yeah, I thought I was. So Bob is pulling something over on Phil as well, because Phil wants to be the new pastor of, what's the name of it? Why I can't think of the name of the church. Phil wants to be the new pastor, right? That's his plan. But apparently Bob's got other plans. He buying up property, that much property, he must want to build something, either a compound or he wants to tear down the church. He probably wants to tear it down and build one of these great big old crystal cathedral type things that these big churches are known for. But Phil is not in on it. Last thing we see is Sophia comes to see Grace about AJ. To say that he's guilty. I don't know why. That's a mystery. I mean, well, maybe because we're able to see, we know more than she did. She actually believed that he was innocent, and Grace wanted to believe that he was innocent. I don't know why Grace would want to believe he's innocent, because he's guilty of sin. But yeah, she comes and tells him about how she found the pills in his bag, and he had taken off. I don't know if she tells him about this suicide threat or not, but that's where they ended. Okay. That was episode 7. We only got 3 episodes left. Boy, this season's passed fast. The older you get, the faster time moves, honey. This is a whole season over. It seems like it just started. Well, there's 3 more weeks. So I'll see you next week, guys.